Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents, they handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Before Epstein was the Franklin cover-up. Before that, the Finders, and long before that, the Cleveland Street Scandal. Pedogate Primer is a concise intro and overview of a growing child abuse epidemic worldwide. It features shocking instances of institutionalized and organizational pedophilia throughout history. Churches, cults, the world of arts and entertainment, the government, NGOs, charities, and major corporations are all complicit or culprits in many instances. Pedogate Primer delves into material that for many may seem like the stuff of conspiracy theories. For this reason, the book draws on academic resources, declassified documents, and other reliable sources, and steers clear of conjecture. Such shocking true stories need no embellishment.
Emailrevealer.com. People ask me all the time, hey Ed, are you still a private investigator? I sure am. Go to emailrevealer.com. We handle adoption investigations, infidelity investigations, where you give us your spouse's email address. We trace it back to online dating websites, catch them cheating online. Email tracing, locate or identify somebody from as little as an anonymous email address. Someone owe you money? Back child support? We can find that deadbeat. Locate his hidden assets. Locate his hidden bank accounts. Find his current place of employment, and even assist you in obtaining a judgment and recover that judgment for you. Emailrevealer.com. Digital forensics, computer forensics, cell phone forensics, recover deleted text messages. Create a report that you can use in court. Emailrevealer.com, 800-572-9762. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay. Welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. You'll find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting, either through my website, emailrevealer.com, or just email me directly at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. That's if you need a private investigator. Anything regarding work, the radio show, you contact me at oppermanreport@gmail.com. We've got a website, opperman.com. Got a Patreon, The Opperman Report. I put up like 7 new shows up there. And I have a lot of shows that I haven't aired anywhere that are just sitting in the can waiting to be uploaded. I didn't want to upload all the new stuff all at once. And there's still stuff from the old members section that I haven't uploaded there in the $5 section. So it's Christmas season, great Christmas gift, membership to the Opperman Report Patreon. Sign up now while you can before I have a heart attack or a stroke and I'm gone forever, okay? We're not too far from that. Okay, archives are always free. Go to Spreaker.com. Every night, Friday night, I do a live show on Spreaker, which is what I'm doing right now. Day after Thanksgiving. Where's my notes? I had my notes. Where did it go? There we go. Okay. All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving, folks. Happy Thanksgiving to you, one and all. Let's see if there's anybody. Let's say happy Thanksgiving back. I'm going to put that on there. Nope, nobody yet. Okay. Well, let's see. Long day, okay? Everybody enjoys their Thanksgiving, okay? And and I do this every freaking year because usually, you can't always have Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day. And so many times in the past few years, because all the stores are closed. You can't get any food on Thanksgiving if you don't have a place to go or something to eat. So now that I'm down here in Florida, I don't know anybody. Yesterday, I didn't have Thanksgiving. We had it today. I had it today with my daughter Vic on Zoom. So I got up early this morning, crack of dawn, and bought all the stuff you need to cook. And I bought one of those tofurkeys, because I'm vegan. Ugh, God, it's disgusting. I'll never eat that again. It was horrible. It was just horrible. Maybe there's another kind of tofurkey that's okay, but this one was just disgusting. In fact, I made all my stuff, all my fine trimmings, my stuffing, and my cranberry sauce, and my sweet potatoes, and my mashed potatoes, my asparagus, all my yummy food. Because Thanksgiving's always been my favorite holiday. I used to love turkey, man, back when before I went vegan. Now I can't even think of eating it. So I should have just stuck with the sides and the trimmings, like they call it, And, of course, I did my joke. I do the same joke every year. I go on Facebook and Twitter, and I say, hey, how long does it take for a turkey to defrost? I took it out of the freezer an hour ago. What's going on here? And everybody, year after year, they fall for it. So I did it again yesterday. And then today, me and Vic had our Zoom Thanksgiving. She's over in D.C. And, we had a great time. I had a lot of fun just cooking together and then sitting down, eating together. And it was just great. But it was just kind of sad at the end when we had to say goodbye. It was a draining, exhausting day, to tell you the truth, And the other thing, too, is, she's got this new boyfriend. She's dating a guy who's a postgraduate, he's getting a PhD. And he lives quite the fancy life. He's been to Dubai, has a place in New York. Fancy guy, So, my God, what if she would have moved to Dubai? What would I do? That would be so sad, I remember right before she went off to college, or last year at high school, it was right before her high school graduation, as a matter of fact. We watched the movie Lady Bird together. And it was just such a dramatic time of our life, because she was leaving, the nest, the empty nest, all that kind of stuff. And the movie was so special to us, we went to the movies. And that was our Christmas Day movie that we watched on Christmas Day. Because we do like a Jewish Christmas, we go to the movies and you get Chinese food. And the director and the writer of that movie is that woman, Sedgwick, whatever her name is, right? And she also directed Little Women a couple of years later. And I'm just fascinated with this woman. She's just a great actress and a great filmmaker. And she's married to or living with that guy, Noah Dietrich, who's also, Noah Birnbaum, I think his name is. And it was also an excellent filmmaker, Squid and the Whale. And so she was doing an interview about Little Women. And she was talking about that time, and it says, those young girls, because they were going to go off and get married, and it would never be the same, And it just, it just broke my heart when I heard that, because, my daughter's going off to college. It's never going to be the same again. And, of course, it hasn't. She's doing great. She's just doing, she's thriving out there in the world. She's got this great job, and, benefits and medical, all this kind of stuff. And that was my day here today, my little... It was kind of a mistake leaving Vegas. Let's put it that way. It's different down here in Florida. It's kind of lonely, So that was my thanks. And we have a lot to be thankful for. That's what I was getting to. We have a lot to be thankful for. As a matter of fact, it's kind of funny. A year, it went great, I settled, one of the big cases I was working on. We always call it the lawsuit against Disney, but it was one of those sexual battery cases of an underage Disney star. And we took that case. From start to finish, that was my case. And so that settled this year, and that went great. At one point, it could have been huge, but it was still a great settlement, for me at least. And, I was struggling with that eviction situation because, we had no sponsors. The sponsors weren't paying their bills, and I was being evicted. And I didn't realize, I don't know if the audience knows this, but I actually won that case, I thought I had lost because here in Florida, when it said the order to stay the eviction was granted, and it didn't say the defendant's order was granted. So I thought, I just assumed it was the motion was granted. I just assumed it was the plaintiff's motion all this time. So I went back and read it again. I said, look at this, I won. So that's good. I got no eviction on my record. And then we were able to, we got that settlement. And then we were able to, I got a big job. And we were able to buy a condo. I got a beautiful condo down here now, in Florida. And it's right, there's water in the back. There's a pond with turtles and frogs and stuff and big ducks and geese and all kind of wildlife. Beautiful, beautiful situation I got here. And it's just that I don't know anybody down there. And with COVID, it was so hard to get to know people the past year. So got a lot to be thankful for. A lot to be thankful for. And let's move on from that. Coming up later on tonight, it's Friday nights when I put up the new content. A lot of people don't seem to get, that when the new content goes up, because I put up these repeats every day. Is it new or is it a repeat? Is it new or repeat? No. The only time new content goes up on the internet, on the podcast, on Spreaker, iHeart, iTunes, all that stuff, is on Friday and Saturday. On Friday nights, I put 3 hours of new content. Okay, so new show I got going up tonight. It's caused quite a stir. I'm interviewing Tommy Fellows from Colorado Ped Patrol, and he's one of these guys that does like a. I've been talking about this like 3 weeks because I've been watching all these videos. I'm sick of them now, but I've been watching all these videos, and he's one of these guys who does these stings. They catch people online trying to meet up with children, and he goes out, and he catches them on video, and hopefully, they get an arrest. So I interviewed him, and I tried to talk to him about some tips and advice on how they could get some more actual arrests and convictions. And I've got it all laid out, and I know it would work. So I sent them some ideas, and he never really got back to me. And then I contacted this other group, and they says, "Oh, sure, we're interested," but it doesn't seem like they really are. It seems like the guys who came up with this concept are like the leaders of this YouTube world of group of people, and they're more focused on the YouTube world and not the real world, And to demonstrate that, okay. I got caught up in this crazy controversy with all these people behind the scenes of these different predator catcher groups, all contacting me to trash the other ones and yell about the other ones, and then, oh, let me send you this chat log, let me send you this video, this exposure video. It's just amazing. All these people on YouTube, they just love to expose each other. Expose. And they're all exposing to other YouTubers, And they're all going on about how many views they got and how many subs they got and all this kind of nonsense, It's just ridiculous, And so it's kind of funny because I got this one email. I got some crazy emails this week, but I got this one message on YouTube. What is this here? Let me find it. Let me find it. I hope it's here. Oh, here we go. You may want to do some more research on YouTube before you tarnish your channel. Before I tarnish my channel, he's telling he doesn't like, the people I'm interviewing. So he's telling me that unless I do YouTube research, I'm going to tarnish my channel. Like, not even tarnish my personal reputation. Now, this is especially funny to me this week, okay? Because just at the time I got this message, I've been working on this thing. Okay, I'm down here in Florida, and I've been trying to hire an assistant to come here and help me out, especially during the Christmas season. That's when you make the most revenue with the advertising revenue. It's very important that I get the most plays and the most clicks. So I really need to promote the Spreaker channel and share it and post it all over the place, And it's just really hard work. And I've been working on a case, a nice job, and I've been talking about it here. It has everything. It has digital forensics, it has cell phone forensics, it has some surveillance involved. There's even some undercover work. There's some, we're going to get a criminal case, and then we're going to get a civil case after. So it's great. I'm testifying, and then there will be a civil judgment at the end of it. So this is all working out great for me. And so I can't get anybody down here, so I actually contacted some people who used to work for me in Vegas, and I'm trying to convince her to come down here and come work for me. Okay.
Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.
And so, I haven't talked to her in about a year, and I'm trying to tell her everything's going on down here. And she says, well, what have you been up to? And I laid out all the stuff, a lot of stuff I can't talk about on the air, but all the successes we had this year, And this week especially, and I was saying to one of the other guys I was working with, I says, this is like Ocean's 11. I feel like, I said, you got to call me Clooney. I'm going to call you Pitt. It's like, we pulled off a caper here, we pulled off a job here. This is great stuff. And it's just been such a year of success. And then first to say that I'm going to tarnish my YouTube channel. It's going to, that's not even tarnish your reputation, but it's going to tarnish your channel. I don't, my YouTube's not much. And for the people, by the way, who listen on YouTube, you're missing out on the best stuff, okay? YouTube deleted half my good stuff. You're not going to find it on YouTube. Even the uploads, they only upload about 70% of this stuff. It's not monetized. I put no effort into promoting the YouTube stuff. There's no tags, there's no nothing, no descriptions. If you want the real stuff, you got to go to the Spreaker channel. There's a link up in the description. You can listen on AM/FM radio 5 days a week. All the stations are left, or there in the about comments, thing. You can find that there. That's where the real stuff is going on. And in Patreon, that's where and there's a lot of free stuff in the Patreon. So if you're just watching on YouTube, you're wasting your time. It's just a total waste of time. So I get this other message, right, from this guy. Here's another funny one, right? The subject, he contacts me on through the website, OurPermanentReport.com, right? And the subject line is Q, okay? And he says, I've been listening to your podcast almost daily for the past month. Today I listened to your show with some guy who wrote a book about Q, based on going online for a few hours, basically Googling Q. I was appalled by your smarminess toward the group. You discredit Q, but agree with pretty much everything they say. Satanism, human trafficking, blackmailing, CIA-run operations. Understand that 10% of what Q puts out is disinformation and as bait. to get the deep state to bite. As an investigator, you should understand how this works. You lost a listener today. Okay, now, first of all, the whole idea. First of all, let's go back a couple of notches here. The guy that wrote the book basically uses this show as his source for what's in the book. I've cited in the book like 10 times. Okay, let's start with that. Let's move on then to this line about, I love this. I get this all the time. You call yourself an investigator and you don't agree with me about this? So right away, the person who's saying this, right away, is putting me like on a higher level. That they're holding me in a place of respect and seniority by saying, well, you're an investigator. And obviously, the person is not, okay, which doesn't mean anything. And, by the way, too, this isn't an investigation, it's a conversation. Okay, I know how to take a statement from somebody. I know how to talk to a witness and get them to speak on answer questions, but I'm not investigating, like I'm going to invite a guest on the show, but first I have to investigate his character before I bring him on the show. Like, just imagine, I'm going to go and try and invite a guest to come on the show. Well, I'd like you to come on the show, but first I'd like to discuss your character. Tell me about your drinking habits, sir. Yeah. Tell me about your sexual proclivities there, young man. Oh, my God. It's just the craziest thing in the world, man. The craziest thing. The listeners is just so crazy. By the way, too, I forgot to mention this. I should be interviewing again tomorrow. Remember that story, Kyle Livingston? And it's a story about a guy in Baker, California. He was a young model that went out from Atlanta to California to make it rich, to get famous. And they found his body in the desert with all his organs missing. And so there's a lot of talk about this. Oh, it must be organ trafficking and all this kind of stuff like that. Well, I did an interview with his mother. Okay, it was an hour-long interview last week. But somehow the recording got lost or whatever. I don't know. There's so much weird stuff going on here these days, man. Like there's one really weird thing going on, like on social media with one of my social media accounts that I don't even want to talk about because it's so freaking crazy, So anyway, so this interview got misplaced or disappeared, or I accidentally deleted it. Who knows, right? But either way, it's gone. So, but after the show, I had a really long talk with the mother, and I went, and she's sending me all this evidence, all documentation, stuff like that. So anyway, it's not organ trafficking. Let's just put it to rest there, okay? And it has nothing to do with Maria Abramovich and Lady Gaga and all stuff like that. It's none of that stuff, okay? It's very simple an explanation to all this story. So I'm going to try and do another interview with her. And by the way, too, if anybody wants to solve this crime and figure out who killed his kid, it's a piece of cake, okay? You just got to get the equipment, okay? People know what happened, okay? Anyway, there's that story. Coming up after my second show, after this guy, Tommy Fellows from Colorado Ped Patrol, will be, what is this? The Watchdog Didn't Bark. The CIA, NSA, and the crimes of, whatever it is, and the crimes of the war on terror. Now, there's a lot of good stuff here because it, and what's that word again? Envelops or overlaps with the interview I did with the Paul Fitzgerald and Elizabeth Gould about the valediction, about the story about the assassination of the ambassador over there in Afghanistan, Dubs, I think his name was, Adolf Dubs, and how, pretty much leads back to Zbigniew Brzezinski, Mika Brzezinski's father, Joe and Morning Joe, and his girlfriend on there that he married, that they both cheated on their husbands and got together. Oh, God, it's so hot in here, man. It's freaking hot in here. Okay, let's see what else. Ah, boy. Let's see, we're going to take a somber turn here. So maybe I'll do this out of order. Let's see. Because I want to talk about Dave McGowan. Okay, I'm going to tell you some behind-the-scenes stuff about Dave McGowan, that Catfish situation that we had with Dave McGowan while he was still alive. That pretty much kind of interfered with our relationship, too, at the end there, tragically. But maybe to kill some time before that, because we got 7 minutes before the break, the big verdict of Kyle Rittenhouse, right? Okay. And This is a huge trigger. People get triggered, man. You mentioned Kyle Rittenhouse. Hey, they're down for a fight. You know? There is something about this glamorized ideal in America that I'm going to carry my gun, and I'm going to pose with my gun, I'm going to clean my gun, I'm going to play with my gun, and somehow what's going to happen is one day I'm going to be, walking around my neighborhood with my gun and my, my waistband here, and I'm going to see a woman getting raped, and I'm going to run over there, I'm going to save her, I'm going to shoot the guy, bang, 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 and then she's going to look up at me and say, I love you, will you marry me? Or somehow, you're going to have your gun, you're going to see a hostage situation going on, you're going to go in there, you're going to shoot up the place, and then your ex-wife is going to say, take me back, I love you. Because we've got so many movies with that same plot. It's just ridiculous, So here we got this Kyle Rittenhouse, man, this smarmy kid who's down there with this rifle. Well, he was just going to clean paint with his rifle. He's going down there to clean the spray paint with his rifle. Okay, he's doing that at medical aid with his rifle there. He's going to poke out the wounds and put on Band-Aids with his rifle there. Okay, all right. Now, I did a whole show. And try and listen. Try and don't get triggered and get all focused. Hey, you gotta watch your tapes. You watch your tapes. You gotta watch your tapes. You gotta watch your tapes. Self-defense. Self-defense. You gotta watch your tapes. Relax. I don't need to watch the tapes. Okay? I do this stuff for a living. I've handled many self-defense cases, man. Many legitimate, justifiable self-defense cases. You know where all those guys went? They all went to prison. They all went to prison, 90% of them, because they pled guilty. Back when I was in New York, okay, I was a youngster. I used to take these little jobs. I think they were called 18Bs. I want to think that they were called 18Bs. And that's where you would work for the public defender's office doing investigations for the public defenders. And they would pay you like $20 an hour. It's ridiculous. It was nonsense. But, sometimes you needed them, Or I was, trying to build up my hours and stuff like that. Okay. I did a whole intro about this, when it was all fresh in the air. And I says, I didn't watch the trial. Well, you should watch the trial. If you watch the trial, then you'd agree with me. Okay, I don't have to watch the trial. Because what I'm telling you is there's a lot of people out there, these triggered, mostly right-wing white people and nuts, okay, who see this, and in their fantasy world, they think that they're going to go out now and start shooting up protesters and shooting people up, and they're going to get away with it because it's self-defense. Now, even if you put yourself into a position where it is a self-defense case, it's still going to get arrested, just like this kid got arrested, okay? And then, even if you have the money to put on a defense, okay, 90% of cases are lost. This idea that the cases are won, you go to trial and you win, very few trials are won because people can't afford to either. And a lot of times you go into these lawsuits and the guy says, oh, yeah, we'll get you off on this, don't worry. But they know they're not going to get you off. We need $6,000 to get you off on this. They know, And in the back of my mind, they're thinking, listen, I'm going to get you the best plea deal I can get you, and I'm going to talk you into it. And that's what's going to happen. Because that's reality. That's real life. And I did another show called Play Misty For Me. Okay? I did it a long time ago, and the audio volume is very low. But if you go to the last 20 minutes, I get into the whole story about Clint Eastwood in this movie, Play Misty For Me. He's a radio DJ over there in Carmel, California. And this woman falls in love with him. She becomes obsessed with him. She becomes a roommate with his ex-girlfriend. And she attacks the girlfriend. She comes to him. She tries to kill him. There's a big ruckus fight all over the apartment there, his house there, and the whole thing's a wreck. And he kills her. Right? And in the last scene of the movie, they show Clint Eastwood sitting there all shook up. And the cop comes over and he brings him a cup of coffee. And he pats him on the shoulder. It's okay, buddy. Calm down. You'll be all right. Okay? Now, that is that's, even back in the 70s, that wouldn't happen. The cops are going to come in and see this wreck of a house and a dead body. First thing happens, this guy goes in cuffs. Okay? And then, and now today, forget it. Even if they knew that the woman killed the ex-girlfriend, the guy's still getting arrested. Okay? Hey, we have self-defense we can self-defend yourself in America. No, you can't. You can't. Okay? Go sit in the courthouse one day. Anybody can go down to court and sit there and watch arraignments and watch trials and watch. They got these things called case updates, case management hearings. Okay, and that's when there's 30 of them, 40 of them in a row, and now you can watch them on Zoom too. By the way, you don't have to go down to the courthouse. And the judge says, okay, we have this case here. What's going on? So, well, we're ready to take a plea deal. Okay, what's the deal? Okay. Or the other side's not turning over discovery. We need to have a hearing about it, Your Honor. They're being slow with this. We still need this. We still need that. Okay. You sit there and watch these all day long, and you see, ultimately, everybody pleads guilty. Okay? Ultimately, everybody pleads guilty. Okay? That's the way the system's designed. So don't scream at me, okay, and tell me, in America, you have the right to self-defense. Trust me, you don't. Okay? Just like you're trying to tell me it's a free country and anybody can be president and all this kind of nonsense. This is another one. It's a myth. It's a myth. Now, don't get all triggered and get mad at me. Ed doesn't believe in a Second Amendment. Ed doesn't believe in I believe in self-defense. I believe in a Second Amendment. And you know what? I don't give a damn about the Self-Amendment. If I want guns, I'll have guns. I don't care what law or amendment there is. Okay? None of that matters. Pass a law banning all guns in. It doesn't change my life a bit. Okay? Give me a break, man. All right. Oh, now we're going overtime. See, now you got me going here, and I'm going overtime. Now you ruined everything for me here. Got Kyle Rittenhouse, that rascal. Let's invite him down to the vice president. Why doesn't Pence invite him over? That's what I'm wondering. Huh? Or Sarah Palin. Why doesn't he go down and live with Sarah Palin for a while? Alaska, he can bring his rifle over there. Plenty of things to shoot at. Shoot some bears. Be right back after these messages. Shoot some bears. I should have named tonight's show, Shoot Some Bears. I got some more clickbait.
Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.
And now a word from our sponsors. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at KMDlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to KMDlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Before Epstein was the Franklin cover-up. Before that, the Finders. And long before that, the Cleveland Street Scandal. Pedogate Primer is a concise intro and overview of a growing child abuse epidemic worldwide. It features shocking instances of institutionalized and organizational pedophilia throughout history. Churches, cults, the world of arts and entertainment, the government, NGOs, charities, and major corporations are all complicit or culprits in many instances. Pedogate Primer delves into material that for many may seem like the stuff of conspiracy theories. For this reason, the book draws on academic resources, declassified documents, and other reliable sources, and steers clear of conjecture. Such shocking true stories need no embellishment.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Opperman Report. OPPERMAN Report. Okay, well, Dave McGowan, If you don't know who Dave McGowan is, you can go back and look at just Google Ed Opperman, Spreaker, Dave McGowan. Did some great work on the moon doggy, about the fake moon landing, the Pidiocracy, understanding the F word, fascism. He had a concern about fascism. All the kind of stuff we talk about here, our topics overlapped. And first time I had him on the show, we became fast friends. We enjoyed the same topics, enjoyed the same thing. And he used to say, I love coming on Ed's show because I learn stuff. I learn things when I go on his show. So, and this year, he died right around this time of year, on the same day they assassinated Kennedy, And became friends with his brother Craig, and then he had this group on Facebook. That was a great group, It's deteriorated into all COVID stuff now, vaccine masks, and I don't even bother with it hardly. It's a shame, and it's part of this concern I have about these original, real well thought out guys, good researchers, investigators, authors, who were looking into these topics years ago that are all gone now, like Maury Terry, Russ Dizdar, Dave McGowan, Cisco Streetlove. I can go on, and we lost these great minds, and what we have now are the sea of people with these podcasts basically regurgitating the same old material and just need to change it just a little bit to deceive, and to misdirect and to disinform. And where guys like Dave and Maury were looking to inform, we have people now looking to disinform. If you look at the Bible, Eve said to Adam, are you sure that the serpent said we would surely die? So and that's how they, for that slight little changing of a couple little words in there, caused all this mess. Okay, there's that. Now, I'll tell you a little story back in the old days. I got to tell you, I have a lot of regrets about this show, okay? And people who I brought on the show years and years and years ago, and I gave them their first platform, and then I've created monsters, and I don't endorse a damn word that they say today, or people I got involved with and mixed up with, that I later on discovered just are either crazy or complete frauds. Now, I'll give you a little behind-the-scenes story, the Catfish situation with Dave McGowan. When I first started my show, and everyone complains about that first show we did about the West Memphis Three, and they say, "Oh, the audio was so terrible. The audio was so terrible. The audio was so terrible. Oh my God! Oh." And it got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hits at this point. Different times it's been uploaded. Because the first time, that first YouTube channel's gone. And the reason why that audio was so bad is because this woman who volunteered to be my producer, I met her through that crazy station, that Freedom Slips, Revolution Radio. And she told us she had a computer, but she didn't. She was trying to broadcast the show using the Skype on her cell phone. And she lived up in the mountains over there in California where there's really no good internet. And that's the reason why I was lied to from the start, from the first moment, with this woman. And, she was a good help for the show in the beginning there, but again, you only need to insert yourself in there and just make a couple little changes here and there, little directions, and screw things up. Oh, and also spy and on what I'm doing, I'm saying a lot. Okay. That happens sometimes. So what happens is, right around the time that I started building the website and creating the members section and all kind of. By the way, back then no one had that kind of stuff going on. There wasn't even Patreon didn't exist back in those days. So when no one was doing what I was. No one had a website. No one was simulcasting on other stations. Nobody was doing these things. So I just started noticing that something was weird, and she was causing agitation between some of the stations and other opportunities that I had. And there was this other character who was involved too. And they had always pretended that they hated each other. We would talk in a three-way conversation quite often. But they would always pretend, when I was talking to them individually, they would pretend that they hated the other person and had no respect for the other person. And I found out that wasn't true at all, that they were actually best friends. And I think they actually, I thought they had met through me, but I think now today that they knew each other before either of them contacted me and inserted themselves into my life. Well, all hell breaks loose when Dave McGowan is in the hospital, on his deathbed, his cancer deathbed. And this woman went to the hospital and snuck around the hallways there because Dave's brother was waiting there guarding the door. And for the few minutes he left that room, she snuck in there and she tells him, Ed Opperman is an agent, that I'm some kind of an agent. Okay? Doesn't even understand what kind of agent I am. What am I, a working FBI agent? Am I a working CIA agent? Am I an informant? Am I COINTEL? What am I? But no, he's an agent. And then she snuck out of there just as quick, before anybody could find out. And so Dave hears this. He said, "Oh my God, I've dealt with this woman before. That's it's producer. What's going on here?" But he doesn't come to me and ask me. And instead, what they do is they kind of hold this little kangaroo court, okay? Other members of his Facebook page and stuff like that, where they will have a discussion behind my back. No one comes to me and asks me a question or anything like that, right? These things are easy to. By the way, the one guy who could find out would be me. Okay, these things are kind of easy to find out. There's ways to find out what people do for a living in real life. I get tipped off by one of the guys, who's a cool guy. And he says, I know this can't be true, okay? But this is what they're saying. And then he says, when so-and-so looked into it, and he came to the conclusion that you are. Now, this same guy, this so-and-so, begs to come on my show all the time. Let him come on twice. Beg to come on. Even recently sends me an email, chatting up his promoting self-promotion. So I hear this, and it's like a explosion goes off in my head. I what's going on here? So this woman producer had always said, that she had this issue with a neighbor, this young punk neighbor who lived off his parents, and he was a bully in the neighborhood. And she even sent me a letter, and I told her, well, this is what you do. You go to the DA's office, you write an affidavit, a complaint, bring that to the DA's office, and you get them to prosecute you. I'll help you. I'll do it. I even wrote it out for her, I think. Okay? So now that I find out that she's doing all this stuff to sabotage, and by the way, too, they also went afterwards, too, and they had a little coordinated program where they were flagging all my YouTube and putting in copyright complaints, not copyright, those privacy violations to destroy my YouTube channel, okay? And I actually went to the prosecutor in California to get this taken care of. And I went to a prosecutor in another state, too, in New Jersey, to get this taken care of. And I could have. Now, what happens here is I start looking into this woman's life, okay? I just taken everything she told me at face value for granted, that she was being honest. She was so involved in our lives. I was talking to her 3 times a day. By the way, I met her in that chat room over that crazy station at Freedom Slips. So I start looking into her life. I find out every single thing she told me was a lie. Her pictures were 10 years old, okay? She lied about her ethnicity, okay, and her race. She lied about, because she said she was Native American, okay? And then she lied about her marital status. She lied about her living status. She told me this story about how she bought this cabin and she renovated it and stuff like that. That was the home she was born in. That was her parents' home that she was born in. And she still lived with her parents and some kind of a learning disabled brother. So then I says, well, let me check with this guy who she wrote that letter to. I got his name. Says, let me contact this guy, the neighbor. Let me see what's going on with that. This guy tells me, man, a nightmare of a story about a disturbed, crazy woman in that neighborhood that's terrorizing the whole neighborhood. The water, well stuff. Like
Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.
There's those little communities, unincorporated communities, where someone has to be in charge of the water. Just nightmare, terrifying story. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on here behind the scenes that the audience has no idea about. A lot of personal stuff. And like I said, there's been a couple of people that slipped by me and got on the show that I created a monster. Now, I don't know if it's that someone gets to them. I know for a while there was a documentary company, film company, that was contacting all my guests and getting them to sign these NDAs and offering them deals and all kind of nonsense. Nothing ever came out of it, And they had contacted me a few times. And finally, one day when I sat down and talked to them, it was just like, something was up. There's that, And then there's other guests who I think at one time were legit, and either someone got to them with money or manipulated them or what, I don't know. But they're just off on the wrong path now. So I have a lot of regrets of who I've let on this show in the past. I don't endorse, a guy says, you need to check the character on all you. You can't check the character of every guest you have on the show. It's impossible. So, I'm a little, I don't know. It just seems like it's all on many levels, and everyone always says it's like the government. I don't think it's, I know there's definitely times here where I've pissed off people in private business and capitalism, and I was retaliated through private business and capitalism. Or legal system. It's not always like the FBI and the CIA and stuff like people seem to think. I guess they want you to think that. And so when I see a lot of these youngsters, who have these shows out there basically based on my show, and seeking out my guests and interviewing my guests, I brought people on the show that were never interviewed before, and now every one of these other shows I interview with them. And the thing is, it's just so easy then to just twist it just a little bit and take the hard work that I did and guys like Dave McGowan did and guys like Maury Terry and Russ Dizdar and Cisco Street Love. These are just the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Now there's Casey Gay McGowan. There's another guy out there doing good work, But, and John Potash is out there doing good stuff, But anyway, it just seems like... It really seems like this vehicle may not be the right vehicle in order to do this kind of work. And I think right now I'm getting a lot more done off the air than I am doing on the air, to tell you the truth. And I think that maybe a novel, make a couple of bucks, and not, have time to write a novel where I could fictionalize, things I'm trying to tell you a little bit easier, So there's that, okay? So I just want to, shout out to Dave McGowan, rest in peace. And I want people to understand, like, the level of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, the level of infiltration and manipulation, okay, that I spotted, all right? But a lot of guys out there wouldn't have spotted and could still be sitting in it right now. And I hope the right people listen to this and hear it. Because I know a lot of the guys, who grew up on this show, and I think they got their big boy pants on. I think they know more than me. So what are you going to do? Maybe you do. Okay, but I don't think you do. Okay? I don't think you do. Listen, guys, happy Thanksgiving. Coming up after this, we have that Tommy Fellows, Colorado Ped Poachers. I try and give them some advice there on the show. I send them some material after the show. I know I'm watching all that stuff. And there's an army of guys out there doing this, man. And I tell you, with just a little tweaking, they could get some real serious arrests and convictions. But I guess maybe it's too much work. Maybe that's it. And then after that show about the watchdogs didn't bark. And going to be new content going up all week long in Patreon. We would appreciate your support there. And the other one is the Spreaker channel, especially during the month of December. Like, the income in December is double. So if you guys can help by sharing the Spreaker link and liking it and sharing it, commenting, and retweeting it, tweeting it, that would be such a huge help. You can't imagine. And instead of me sitting here, 8 hours a day, posting links, I could be doing work for you, doing more interviews and doing my own personal research and investigations, which have been lacking lately on different topics, and giving my opinion on Rittenhouse. It would be nice to be able to sit there through the trial, too, and then report back to you. But, can't always do that if I got to sit here and click. Okay. All right, guys, coming up after this is the Colorado Ped Poacher. Colorado Ped Patrol. Good night.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Before Epstein was the Franklin cover-up. Before that, the Finders. And long before that, the Cleveland Street Scandal. Pedogate Primer is a concise intro and overview of a growing child abuse epidemic worldwide. It features shocking instances of institutionalized and organizational pedophilia throughout history. Churches, cults, the world of arts and entertainment, the government, NGOs, charities, and major corporations are all complicit or culprits in many instances. Pedogate Primer delves into material that for many may seem like the stuff of conspiracy theories. For this reason, the book draws on academic resources, declassified documents, and other reliable sources, and steers clear of conjecture. Such shocking true stories need no embellishment.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents, they handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities. Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.